I obviously didn't think about doing a video today, but just finished watching Dynamite, and holy shit, you know, this is the second or third time I think that they finally got an audience, and this was a really good show. And I don't do reviews very often, but I did just finish a Raw and SmackDown review, so I thought, fuck it, let's just do this. I thought it was awesome, and a good match at the main event as well. So we had Powerhouse Hobbs versus Hangman Adam Page. This was awesome. I mean, a very good wrestling match, and I think that these two guys really beat the shit out of each other, you know. It was very awesome. And yeah, you got Hangman Page winning with the Dead Eyes, and when Cage came out, you had, I think it was Ricky Starks with the FTW title who wanted to get involved, but yeah, Brian Cage put a stop to that. I think there's gonna be a potential face turn for him. I'm just not exactly sure when that's gonna happen, but I'm guaranteeing happening soon, I'm sure. Got Tully Blanchard coming out, and then of course you've got Conan, so these two legends are doing a face-to-face. Got Tony Schiavone, so three legends basically, but it's more or less for Tully and Conan. But they're talking about, you know, their lives, and of course you got Tully, who's a manly man from North Carolina, and also with FDR, and Conan, who talks about Santana and Ortiz, where they were basically beaten up a lot and stabbed and all crazy shit that you don't think about too much. But then you had these guys coming out in masks and hood. You thought maybe they were Conan's backup for Tully, and as it turns out, it was FTR. So they beat the shit out of Conan, and yeah, forgot to mention in the beginning of the night, you had Sean Spears ambush Sam Guevara with a chair. So the Pinnacle are basically beating a lot of people up, and yeah, just interesting to see how that works. But this was a brutal beatdown. You got the pile driver onto Conan, and yeah, that's just weird. There was a segment with Christian and Jack Perry talking about the main event. And Christian going, you know, it's kind of having Kenny Omega saying that you're a piece of shit and you don't deserve the title shot, and Jack saying, I got this, it's gonna be fine. So there it is. We got Dante Martin versus Matt Sydal. Of course, Matt coming out with his brother, which I still haven't seen a lot of matches in the past from, but this was a good match as well. And these two guys really are two of the best high-flying wrestlers in AEW. And, you know, Martin definitely is impressive, but Matt got the win, obviously, the veteran, so, I mean, that was cool. We'll see what happens in the future with those two as well. I think that Martin definitely has that presence about him that I think he will be a champion at some point in the future. But, I mean, Matt Sydal has been in the business for a long, long time, so it was obvious that he was going to win this match. You got All Ego Ethan Page versus Bear Bronson. And Bear Bronson coming out. And the tag team is awesome. I mean, I don't really think their masks are that great, but these two guys really are awesome. In that Bear Bronson and Bear Boulder. So, I mean, these two guys are awesome, and a tag team that will eventually get their titles at some point, I'm sure. But then the minute of the hour, in Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page And Ethan Page is, I think, doing a lot better than he did on Impact, I'm sure. I mean, I really love his persona, and he looks a hell of a lot better in this company. So, this was a good match, too. There you go, Ethan Page, who had Bronson, who was going to do his finishing top suicida move, got distracted. And you had Ethan Page deliver a low blow, and he goes edge to get the win. And of course, I'm thinking to myself, I'm hoping that Bronson remembered to wear a fucking cup! So, and then he gets on the mic and he's talking to Darby Allin, saying that he wants a match at Road Rage, and he wants to nail the final coffin, nail the final nail in the coffin, and he's going crazy. And then he says that he actually wants a coffin match, or a casket match, but he said coffin match. It's gonna be awesome to see these two guys have their first ever, I guess, casket match in AEW. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm not sure who's going to win that. I'm pretty sure Darby might, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that Ethan has a better chance. Like I said, he's very much fresher in AEW than I guess he has been in a long time. So we'll see what happens at Road Rage, which I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure Killer Kyle is looking forward to it. And you got Chris Statlander versus the Bunny, Allie, and this was awesome too. And you got Allie coming out with Braxton the Blade Sutter, and you got Chris Statlander being accompanied by Orange Cassidy. Of course, Trent Beretta has had surgery recently, so he hasn't really been able to make it out. And so this match was cool. And I mean, these two really took each other to the limit, and Allie really impresses me. You know, I know that, well, Chris got distracted. I think that Braxton had the brass knucks handed them to Allie, and then of course Orange Cassidy grabs them and, puts it in his pants. And so that was interesting. Statlander won with the Big Bang Theory, but it wasn't without a beatdown on Orange Cassidy. So this was cool, and we'll see what happens with that, because I mean, Orange Cassidy, like I've said in the past, it's interesting to see what's going to happen. These individuals are a few of the best in the business, and Orange Cassidy definitely, although I don't think he'll ever become AEW champion, I think that a lot of people will always be behind him. So that's pretty cool. Then we got the main event, Jungle Man Jack Perry versus Kenny Omega. Of course, Jack's mother and sisters were there, so you obviously knew that he wasn't going to go over. But nonetheless, he had Kenny Omega come out, and of course he had the Impact Championship, the AEW Championship, the AAA Mega Championship, the TNA Championship, which, okay, whatever. But nonetheless, seeing a guy like him coming out with all the gold kind of reminds me a little bit of Austin Aries when that happened. But I think this is better. This match was cool, and you saw a Tiger Driver 98 from Kenny. Pretty much a lot of false finishes too. Jack doing a lot of close calls with the win. Finally, Kenny Omega heading One Winged Angel onto Jack Perry for the win, and retaining the title. Then he got Christian Cage coming out, and they do a hockey fight brawl, and then of course Matt Hardy coming out. I think the whole thing with Christian and Matt Hardy is pretty fucking awesome. I can't wait to see what more they can do. And I mean, you have their feud at WWE. They had a little bit of a feud, I think, in TNA. I'm not quite sure. But this is pretty cool to see what's going to happen with these two guys once they come to blows. But Road Rage is happening, and I'm positive that Kyle and I will do a review for that in Wheels of Fury, so that'll be awesome. Very good show. Very good show. Anyways, talk to you later. Bye.
So you know that them cutting WCW was a long time coming. But I think that there's this myth out there that Jamie Keller that's why he took pleasure in cutting WCW. I don't think that's the case at all. Because if you look at some of his earlier interviews, like